Know the difference with Annex Wealth Management? Amy Bremmer is a CFP and a wealth manager with Annex Wealth Management. Welcome back.
Thanks, Danny.
It is called the Great Wealth Transfer. $84.4 trillion in wealth will be transferred between 2021 and 2045, primarily from baby boomer households to younger generations. Amy, I struggled with this. I found this article, but it was really pitched at the people to receive the inheritance. I don't know if you've noticed this, but I've picked up on certain chatter, maybe amongst millennials, that their retirement plan might be getting their parents' money. Have you picked up anything like that?
Most of my clients that I work with here at Annex are the folks that would be leaving the money. I don't have a whole lot of younger clients like that are expecting, and the younger clients that I do have are at Annex and they're working towards a retirement. So in my personal experience at the practice at Annex here, I haven't experienced that, but I could see how the headwinds facing those younger generations with student loan debt and mortgages and the rising cost of childcare are providing challenges for saving for their own retirement.
We're going to talk about the plan for leaving an inheritance, and we're going to take this from the boomer or greatest generation point of view. If you're a client of Annex, as Amy mentions, estate planning is part of what we do. So if your plan is to leave money for either your heirs or some entity, the first piece of advice is to talk about it early. Does this mean with Annex or the kids, wouldn't it be better to have your financial ducks in a row so you'd know how the conversation with the kids might go?
Yes. Communication is key. If you don't communicate your intent or how much there's coming, the kids can't prepare for it. It could include fights among siblings. It could include confusion over what were mom and dad's original intentions and uncertainty about where to find proper documents or even where all the accounts are located.
It could be an awkward conversation, though, because it does bring up mortality, money that can change people. Somebody might feel left out or otherwise excluded. And really, let's just say that mom and dad are there, and then you've got married kids. Do the spouses, are they part of that?
That's a phenomenal question. Let me just preface this by saying this conversation is generally not easy. Most families grew up not talking about money. It's kind of a taboo subject, so this is a really uncomfortable thing to do, but I challenge you to stretch yourself outside of your comfort zone and respect the fact that you may have cultural differences that maybe make talking about money taboo. One of the things that we do here at Annex is we facilitate family meetings where it's multi-generational and maybe it's just with the biological children, not the married spouses in the room with mom and dad, and then the professional certified financial professional like someone at Annex to help guide those conversations, and we've had great success with those.
We're with Amy Bremmer, CFP and a wealth manager at Annex Wealth Management. Planning for inheritance. Another consideration, make sure the money is safe. In my opinion, if a plan is already in place, that would help, wouldn't it?
It would help. This is why we focus very clearly on estate planning with our Annex clients. Everyone, whether you have $1 or $100 million, needs a financial power of attorney, a healthcare power of attorney, and a basic will. So as parents start aging, they may forget about those documents. So the sooner you communicate with your children that you have that set up, where those important papers live, it's going to make that, when the time comes, and I tell all the folks I work with, everyone's going to punch that ticket. Every single one of us. So when the time comes, it'll be an easier thing for the children to facilitate.
Okay, for the recipients, plan to spend it wisely, and that's what we wish for, and what the kids might do is completely different. We can't control that.
We can't control it. And at Annex, we don't control it. We are very upfront with the parents saying that when you pass away, this money becomes the children's money. If they want to go to Vegas and stick it all on red, they can. We will certainly guide them and give them as much advice as they are willing to accept. But when I work with families that have inheritance, or even if they fall into a small windfall like a bonus at work or a wage increase at the end of the year, I'm always on the advocate for a balance. Save some of it, but spend some of it on a fun thing because you worked hard for it. You should enjoy that money. So some of the logical, smart things you can do is if you have bad debt, student loan debts, credit card debts, pay those off. Think about building your emergency fund. A fully funded emergency fund is 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses in case of a job loss. And then look at longer term goals like buying a house, buying a new car, funding your children's education, or even your own retirement. But then something fun, like maybe your mom and dad took you to the Grand Canyon as kids. So maybe you take your children to the Grand Canyon and say, this is what Papa and Gigi used to do when we were little kids.
Final piece of advice for recipients, don't bank on it, and that might be a big problem. Don't bank on it.
Nothing. I repeat, Nothing is guaranteed. Your mom and dad could have this conversation with you. Something bad happens. There's a dementia diagnosis and, your mother is in long-term care facility for the next 20 years and funds are exhausted.
Yep.
Nothing is guaranteed. So make sure that your financial house is in good order and don't rely on that generational wealth transfer.
Get a plan. Get it in writing. Amy Bremmer, CFP and a wealth manager at Annex Wealth Management. Thank you.
My pleasure, Danny.